Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So today I'm bringing another reaction to another video that I found. I'm really digging some of the content that Black Brazilians are putting out there because again, it just kind of reiterates the things that I've been saying for a number of years. And today with everybody doing videos, I have a chance again. My point has always been never to be able to speak for Black Brazilians, but just to give them a platform to be able to share their thoughts with the English speaking world. So I'm reacting to another video that I came across. This was probably last week, comes, off of the TikTok platform. Today's video is called, "And That Phrase We Hear from a Family Member, You Have to Marry a White Man. Woman suggests the increase of self-esteem to combat the desire to swirl." All right, so it's a really short video, but I'm saying I really got a kick out of what some of the things that this girl was talking about, because as I said, I've been talking about what we call palmitaging for a number of years. And so this gives me the opportunity to share what Black Brazilians are saying, what they're actually saying, because I've talked about it for years. They've talked about it for years. So that's why I want to share the video and be able to overdub what this young lady has to say, because this is something that she's living, something obviously she's noticed. So before I go in and start reacting to this video, definitely like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the notification bell. Let's get right into this for today and check out the new video and see what this young lady, what's on her mind. Okay, so this is a young lady who I'm reacting to her video today. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to get directly into what she has to say. Then I'm going to come back and react to it. Let's check it out. One of the ways to increase self-esteem as a Black person is to stop palmitaring. Calm down, palmiteiros. Let me explain, it'll make sense. Our whole childhood, at least me as a woman, we always had to deal with that ideal that when I grew up, that the perfect man was the white, blonde, light-eyed man. That was always the man we thought of when we thought of the perfect man. All through childhood, we were always used to seeing white men as more handsome. Even in our fantasies, when we imagine ourselves as princesses, the prince was always a white man. And it's only now that I realize how wrong that was. And then as time went by, I realized that we weren't used to finding people like us beautiful, and that's the problem. How am I going to find myself beautiful if I don't find people like me beautiful? If you, as a Black person, can't find beauty in people like you, you'll never ever find yourself beautiful. And no, there's nothing wrong with liking white people. The problem is when you start to diminish, to inferiorize people like you because you find white people more beautiful. Try to appreciate the beauty of Black people more. You'll see that it will make a big difference in the way you see yourselves. All right, she said it right to the point. Like I'm saying, she said a lot of things that I agree with, because this is something that I talk about all the time. But everything that she said, I mean, I have to give her mad credit. She had the wherewithal to be able to remember what she was thinking as she was growing up, how the family itself instilled this idea, like, look, when you grow up, you have to marry a white man. I put up a video a few days ago where the young man was talking about how he had to come to understand that he was getting this anti-Blackness from his own Black family. When he said that his Black mother and his Black sister said it was always the white girls he brought home who they judged to be prettier. So he talked about how he would hide the Black girls when he was dating them, but then he would show off the white girls until he finally realized, like, what am I doing here? So this video that I'm reacting to right now is not say the exact same thing, but it's telling you what Black Brazilians go through in a nation that in the racial hierarchy, it puts whiteness at the top of the pole. It tells you that it says during your whole childhood, you're taught that white is better, it's superior, it's more beautiful, it's more intelligent. You have more access to a middle-class lifestyle. Everything associated with whiteness in Brazil is associated with whiteness. So I know that there's going to be people who look at this video like, why am I stirring this pot up? But the point is, this is what's been going on for centuries. This has been going on for decades. And if you're not black, then this is not something that's going to affect you. This is why we talk about the necessity of black people having representation in every realm of life, right? And as she said, she said this and other people have said this. This is not to say you absolutely cannot date somebody white. That's not the point here. The point here is, what indoctrination is your mind, your psyche going through when everything that you associate with, something good in life is associated with whiteness? That's where that's where the problem comes in. If you genuinely meet a person that you fall in love with, nobody can know. And sometimes a person themselves may not know if they're being indoctrinated with this. In Brazil, years ago, I remember somebody called it the dictatorship of whiteness, a ditadura do branquitude, or brancura, a ditadura do brancura. How many people are living under that? I mean, no matter how you look at it in Brazil, black people are conditioned to think this way. And this is what she's acknowledging during her childhood. Previous video that I put up says, all of the heroes and all the princes and princesses in the TV series and the movies, on the big screen and the small screen, they're always going to be people who are white or something close to white in Brazil's case, right? Even in our fantasies, when we imagine ourselves as princesses, the prince was always a white man. Okay, so obviously for a lot of people, that's not going to matter, because I guess you could say when you're the group that's under a certain domination, it's to the other group's advantage to have a whole nother group under their thumb. So as I've said for years, it's not for me to be able to say, look, you're living under a dictatorship of whiteness. You've been manipulated, brainwashed, and engineered to prefer whiteness. It's not something that I can convince people. It's a thing that people have to come into and realize for themselves. And this is what I'm seeing on platforms like TikTok and Instagram. You see it on Facebook. You see it on YouTube, obviously, where more and more Black Brazilians are waking up and saying, why do these thoughts seem so natural to me that I put white, whether it's white men or it's white women, and they put them on a pedestal? She says in the video to stop, she says, stop palmita, padaji palmita, which means basically stop swirling. Self-esteem is only the increase of Black self-esteem is only going to be the thing that's going to question this idea of palmitagem. So all of this that she said in the video, the idea that you should go after, marry, and have children with white men, which is a direct affront. It's a question. Black feminists for years have pointed the finger at Black men, saying it's you guys who step over us to get the white women. But how can you live in a society that promotes whiteness as superior and believe that only Black men are affected by that and not Black women? There's been numerous women who have also talked about this idea that Black Brazilian women have in their mind of the white, charming prince. That man is going to come along on his horse, dressed in white, the blonde hair and blue eyes, coming here to save the day. The necessity of self-esteem, right? Some people say, well, why are you making a racial problem where there's not a racial problem? When you're not the group that's diminished in society, you're not going to see it as a racial problem. It's not until you can put your shoes on the other foot and see, well, how's the other group living? How do they feel about themselves? How do they feel about not being the standard for what's considered beautiful in their country? Right? So out of palmitar or palmito, palmito in English means hearts of palm. It's that crunchy white vegetable. You can get it in a can or a jar. So when they say people have a love for whiteness, they'll call them a palmiteiro. Palmiteiro, somebody who prefers whiteness. They prefer the hearts of palm, something that has, whiteness. People have given the feminine version, call it palmiteira, a Black woman who prefers to have long-term relationships, have families with white men. They're called palmiteiras. The actual act of having this preference for whiteness is called palmitagem. Then she takes the word and turns it into palmitar, which, basically is, in essence, that's the verb, doing the act of palmitagem. Right. So for those of you who's followed this channel or the blog for some years, you're quite familiar with this term palmitagem. All right. We need to recognize our palmitagem, the preference for white skin. This is from 2016. Palmitagem, the racist policy of whitening the Black population. And of course, we have to mention this in every video, that Brazil's elites from the late 18th century, late 19th century on, has promoted the idea that black and brown Brazilians need to marry whiter so that within 2, 3, 4 generations, all of their children will come out looking white, or at least what we'll call Brazilian white. This young woman put up an interesting video some months ago. I put it up in May of last year. Black love can't heal us until we deconstruct our adoration of whiteness. That's actually a video that I covered on the channel. And black Brazilians are admitting this. Look, why is it that we black lesbians only have relationships with white girls? Asked this popular actress. This Enrique, he, famous soccer player. He's over in Europe now. European soccer leagues went after him, when they saw that he was going to be the latest, superstar black soccer player. They recruited him to come over. I think he's on Real Madrid. I don't know if he's on Real Madrid or Barcelona. I don't really follow soccer, so don't quote me on which team he's on. I just know that they drafted him. As soon as he turned 18, he was to go over to Europe to, make multi-millions. And he told them flat out, he said it, I told my friends I like him blonde with blue eyes. 17-year-old soccer star Enrique gets roasted online for his dating preference. His mother stepped in like, look, I think his mother saw the girl as being like what they call a Maria Chuteira, basically a gold digger. She's got her sights set on the rich soccer player, right? So then years ago, nobody said anything about this, but nowadays more and more black Brazilians are pushing back against this adoration of whiteness. I mean, you love who you love, but the problem comes in when you see one group as being superior to the other group, particularly if you're part of the group that is not appreciated. The charming prince. This article, young woman was calling for the end of romanticizing the European white man. What's she saying? Now, I discovered this years ago that there were just a lot of not only just black Brazilian women, but Brazilian women in general who have this ideology, this dream that this rich European white man is going to come to Brazil and save them from, their life in Brazil. So that's what this lady is talking about in this article. Like, this is a fairy tale. We have to break ourselves out of this illusion. Okay. In the article that I'm talking about today, the girl was talking about like, look, we need to free our minds from this. When we thought of the perfect man, it was always the white man. The prince was the white man. So this is what they're talking about, breaking the chains of indoctrination. What else do we have here? This was from 2015. A popular social media profile. I think it was this young white woman named Jojo. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. Oh my God, he's black. This young woman had hid her boyfriend from her followers for a long time, and she built up her following. Then it was the disappointing discovery that a popular white blogger's boyfriend isn't the Prince Charming they expected. It was just like, they had so much admiration for this woman right here, and then they saw that this was her boyfriend. It's just like, what? Okay, you can see that the guy has fair skin, but clearly they saw him as black because of the reactions that they made. Like, that's your boyfriend? We discovered who Kyle is what they said. I never imagined that Kyle was black, right? Let me see. Wow, I imagine Kyle totally different. It's a nigga. It's a black guy. What does it say? Jojo like extra L salami? Okay. Kyle, in my imagination, is a tall blonde with blue eyes and muscular. So she totally destroyed the image of who this white woman could be with when they saw that her Prince Charming is actually a black guy. Because in the mind, it says a woman like this has to be with a white guy. Like, oh my God, what are you doing with a black guy? Right? When Brazilian guys blow up online for being hot, why are they always white? It's really not hard to tell in Eurocentric Brazil. The title says it all. It just says that, okay, when you punch in the title, os gatos, when they say gato in Brazil, it's kind of like somebody who's fine, somebody who's hot. If you punch in gatos, probably you're going to come up. Most of the pages are going to be filled with men who have a European phenotype. Okay. Not my words. This is what I've seen over the years. Being black or not, how the controversy surrounding the mysterious black prince speaks of the whole issue of racial identity in Brazil as a whole. Again, this talks a little bit about this social media influencer Jojo and her boyfriend Kyle. Like, oh my God, what are you doing with that black guy? It can't be. Then another one that caught my attention. This was from 2016. Whiteness, the Perfect White Man, and the Promotion of Eugenics, and funk singer Ludmilla's orgy video. Now, for those of you who don't know, Ludmilla is one of the top singers in Brazil. She's one of the most popular, millions of streams online of her music. She went from just poverty to being one of the richest black women in the country. But this video caught my attention because they had this kind of creating the perfect man theme in a machine. And what I noticed is that every man that they created that popped up out of this machine was white. I didn't see one black man, or if you prefer brown man, come out of the machine. They all look like white men, right? You have to check out the video. In some ways, it reminded me of, it was the opposite version of Toni Braxton's You're Making Me High. If you remember that video, they had a bunch of men coming in off of an elevator, if you remember that video. And she had maybe a couple of white guys in the group, but the majority of the men that came out of that elevator were black men. The opposite in the Ludmilla video is that most of the men coming out of the Perfect Man machine were actually white men. So again, this whole idea of eugenics, you put it in the audio visual platform, and it says, okay, what type of men do we consider to be the type of man that you should be going after? Go and check out Ludmilla's video for Oje, Hoje. Just push the video in, go and check it out. It's very revealing. Of course, we know that in real life, Ludmilla's with another woman. I think they were planning on having a child. I'm not sure if that child has been born. It was born already. But still, the point is, Ludmilla has a huge influence on a lot of black women in the country. And then she puts out a video with the adoration of white men as well. What is the message there? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Relationships in a country where it is considered natural to love whites. So I've said the work of Malcolm X has been translated into Portuguese. He's asking, the famous excerpt of Malcolm X asking the audience, who taught you to hate the texture of your hair and the color of your skin? All right. So you constantly, whether it's black Brazilian men, black Brazilian women, they always seem to get with white people, particularly if they've climbed the economic scale, the economic ladder. They're generally going to always be with white people. This is Gilberto Gil. We've already talked about her father, Gilberto. A lot of people feel like his family is the epitome of the whitening because a couple, 2 or 3 generations, Gilberto Gil's family is headed to a complete whiteness, right? Gilberto Gil is one of the most popular and legendary musicians in Brazil's history. But for anybody who knows, you've seen what Gilberto Gil's family looks like. Just saying. So in this particular article, I remember a few years ago that the actor Marcelo Mello got into trouble when he was like denigrating this black girl online for what she looked like. And it was like, hey, you're gonna go online and belittle black women, and then we saw what your girlfriend looks like. Okay. What else do we have here? This was another big topic, came out in 2012, the benefits of whiteness. Blue-eyed white beggar becomes a sensation in a country where black beggars are routinely ignored. This is what we're talking about again, the epitome of whiteness, the charming white prince. So this story was huge back in 2012. This former model guy was found on the streets. I think he was crack addicted, and they found him on the streets. I think somebody found him on the streets, just fell in love with him. She took pictures of him and put it online. Like, people's reaction was just like, he's too white and beautiful and handsome to be a beggar living on the streets, addicted to crack. They dusted him off, cleaned him up. Next thing you know, he was making the rounds on TV variety shows. He became the how can I put it? He became all the rage online. And it was like, in the context of, when you walk through the streets of major cities and you see the homeless population, most of them are going to be non-white people, whether you want to consider them black or brown. But, the point is, they'll step on all of the black people who are homeless, might be crack addicted, and just step on them as if that's where they're supposed to be. They're black or brown. But this white man, no way. What is this beautiful white man doing? What's he doing on the streets? This was in the city of Curitiba in southern Brazil. They couldn't believe it. So he became a hot topic for several weeks. Rafael Nunes was his name. This was what he looked like before he got addicted to crack. This is him living on the streets. This was him as a model. Even the British site, this is a Mail Online, the UK website. Meet the ridiculously photogenic homeless guy whose picture has been shared 40,000 times on Facebook. This is from October 2012. So even the British media picked up on it. It was crazy. And again, in a country where most of the people who are going to be on the streets, with nowhere to go, are going to be the black and brown population, but that's expected of them. You can't have this handsome white man living on the streets. We need to pick him up, clean him up, dust him off, and put him where he belongs, back on the top of the racial hierarchy. I mean, you can look at it and say, I'm making too much out of this, but I'm just saying this was a big story back in 2012, and it just speaks to how the racial hierarchy works in Brazil, which is why this woman in the video today is saying, look, we need to raise our self-esteem because we've been indoctrinated to have a preference for whiteness. Marcus didn't say it. This is what she said. Other Brazilians have said it. And more people are becoming aware of this ideology that they've been indoctrinated with since they were children. So what did you think about today's video? I mean, it was short, it's right to the point. I don't know if this video was like a minute and a half long, but she said it all. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let's get a conversation started about this video, because I think it's a lot to talk about here. I say it's another example of Black Brazilians waking up. Definitely like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel if you continue to like the content. Click on the notification bell so that I put up other videos that might be as intriguing as this one. With that said, I'm going to end this video here today and request that you all come back. Check out the next video that I post here at Black Brazil Today.